The second title is Why Is This Stuff Coming Up, Part 2, which we talked about last Sunday. And also, this is about creating self-love. So all three of those fit together today. So again, I remind you of our yearly theme, which is where I am, thou art, where thou art, I am, for I am that I am. And that means that applies to everybody in this whole world. No exceptions. There is no place where God is not. There's no place where the Christ is not inside each human being. So we got to say that God doesn't say that it's true for some people who we deem to be good and not true for those that we deem to be bad or unworthy or something. No, it's for all people. Because if we did the other thing, then we would be living in duality, separate from the theme, separate from the oneness of who we are. So let's look at that a little bit more, how to create camaraderie in the world. God has said there is nothing such thing as the poor, the rich, the beautiful, the ugly, the good, the bad, the worthy, the worldly, the worthless, the white, the black, the guilty, the innocent, the Republicans, Democrats, Christians, Muslims, the young, the old, the honest, the dishonest, the brave, the cowardly, the homeless, those that live in mansions, those that are in Afghanistan or those in North Korea. And I said those two because of judgments we may have of what's going on. So there is no place where spirit is. There is none of those titles. That's only the world looks at those things, not God, because all there is the one. You understand that about what God is saying about that theme? So only in this world that we live in are there opposites, and we create that out of our split mind. Here's the higher self, here's our ego. When we're not here, then we get into our ego, we get into fear, we get into separation, we get into judgment of ourselves and others. So to look at this more, beloveds, it means do not call out a name to another person that you cast as deframed. You are here to create camaraderie in this world, to connection with one another, the oneness of all. So don't set up boundaries between you and others. In fact, do the boundless. So there's nothing there to stop you and separate you from others. You know that without a glance, just that quick in a moment, you may flaunt the use of words with opposites. It may just come out of your mouth all of a sudden. Or without looking at another person, you may tend to categorize them into a group. Without a care in the world, it just comes out of your mouth as a judgment. You may in fact feel smug about your position, as though you're at the end of a seesaw that goes up when someone else goes down. We feel better when we're up, or we feel better when, oh God, here's somebody that acts this way, and we want them to have their, what's that, upcomings? You know, they're treated in a way so that I feel better for myself, and then we separate ourselves. So God wants to say that categorically, everyone is a mixed bag. All of the stuff that's inside of each and every one of us. Even the beautiful that we want to say are beautiful do not always appear beautiful. And someone that you may judge as being ugly may grow on you. It is not worthy, and it is ugly itself, to judge anyone, to identify anyone, including yourself, as ugly, either in looks or in how you express yourself. What is more important in life, good feelings or good looks? Good connections and love or fear and separation? You are choosing that every minute of the day. Your mind tends to pluck out groups of people and say, here's this group. We put them in groups because, maybe they identify with a thought that I have or a way that I act in my life, so I can connect with that. But there is no such collection of people in God's eyes. There's no such union. Only in this world do we separate ourselves, because everybody is there are only people. There are only God expressing through each one. So we have a lot of stereotypes of people, and they're rudely made up by us. We look at people who wear maid uniforms and we have judgments about them, or nurses' uniforms, or clown outfits, or blue jeans, or anything. Underneath of all the names that we have, underneath of all the clothing, are what? The Christ. Simply people of all kinds, and no two are alike. We are all, even though, and I've said before, here's the oneness of God that comes down into 7 billion people, the oneness of God, and yet we express that differently. And that's good, that we have the difference of who we are, and yet we have the similarities in the oneness. Each of us human being all the way around the world. Let's take ourselves out of this little small church right here and look at the whole world. Every being has a heart that beats. Every being has a yearning for something more in their life. No longer can we stuff people up on a shelf and leave them there, because this world is made up of assorted people. Every fingerprint is unique. Therefore, each person is unique. And the great thing about that is there may be some qualities that I or each of you are not quite expressing in your life of God that somebody else has. That's why we need to be together in oneness. Again, we may lump people together in groups like, oh, here's the prisoners and there's the guards. They're opposite. One's bad, one's good. Diners or waiters, there's opposite. Are they doing their job right? All sorts of thoughts come up. Masters or slaves, again, we're separating, putting them in groups. The thing is, all of those are people, and they're here to grow. So I want you to open your eyes up to the truth. There is only one life, one heart, one mind, one God, and it is each and every one of us. We have to let go of separation, all of these judgments, because our turn is to create camaraderie and to oneness, to be the light in the world so that those who aren't quite feeling it can experience it. If you want to open your eyes to the truth, that's what I want to have you all do. That's why we're here, to learn this message. If you want to make less of people, then close your eyes to that truth. And yet recognize that you are intended to see the identities of people far more deeply in themselves than through name calling, than through judgments. God wants you to see the truth. That's what this talk is about. That's why we're here to celebrate this oneness, because God says, no more judgment, no more name calling, no more separation. See everyone as the Christ. And who are you, by the way, to explain or proclaim whether one person is a wonderful human being or is not? When you make calls about other people and judgment, you make yourself small because it comes from you. And self-righteousness isn't righteousness at all. It is negativity, it is separation. What happens when you get into self-righteousness and feel better than other people? You end up cutting out your heart and you put it over here on this shelf that says, I am ego. I know better. I'm right. All those sort of things. When you limit yourself, you limit others. When you limit your others, you limit yourself. What do you think God meant in the prayer that says, hallowed be thy name? God's name is hallowed. Your name is hallowed. As I've said before, because we're divine beings, every place on the ground that we stand is hallowed. That means this whole world, this whole planet is a hallowed planet. Every place where people are is God. The name is hallowed. That's everybody. If you want to be a name caller, then find names that are beautiful, like the Christ, or love, or light. Those are names that we want to use. When you call another person out, you hear it in your ears. And when you hear it over and over again, whether it's positive or negative, it becomes a vibration. Because everything is vibration in our body, our thoughts and our emotions. So you got to be aware of what words you're saying and how they're vibrating in your body. If they're not vibrating good, and then you're not attracting what you want in your life through vibration, it's time to change it. There is no way that you could lower another person down without casting your own self down, because your mind is connecting with them. You're not separate. People think they are. They think they're better. They can judge other people, but it's putting themselves down at the same level. Wake up to that. Don't be quick to limit other people, because it's limiting yourself. When you call another person a fool, who is the fool? You've heard the statement, what A says about B means more about A than it does B. We need to wake people up to that, because when you start saying those words and things to other people, to me, it just clearly shows who you are. Not who that other person is, but your judgments of them and your judgments of yourself. If you have a need to feel greater than others, keep working on building others up so that you become equal. That's much better than being more so or less than, because sometimes that more or better than comes from feeling less. I'm not as strong as this, but I want to be, so I'm going to be the bully, or I'm going to be this way. When you help others to see themselves as God sees them, then you help yourself with self-love. You help others, and you help this world. I just said the whole world is a hallowed place. So we're all connected. There's no separation. Just visualize you loving yourself more and sharing that with the world, to the people here and in your community and the neighbors and the state and in the country and the whole globe. That's how we, just being one person, can make a change in this world. We can make a mark in this world, not necessarily by all of what we're doing in the world, which is a good thing through God's, but how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. Because when you make the world a better place for others to live in, you make it for you to live in, and vice versa. When you serve others, you serve yourself. Whatever you do in the world, however you express yourself, reaches inside you, connects to the God self, and you grow much stronger in love and oneness. And that may mean that we have to forgive other people. Really strong New Thought principle, to forgive, to allow others to be who they are, to not take it personally, to just be connected to our own love and to see that love in others no matter what. It is no sacrifice to love one another. It's a much better thing. And in fact, it's the open sesame to heaven. You know, the door, open sesame to the door, that's what judgment or sacrifice is, to love one another. God is not the only one that created the world. Each of you are creating your world. Each of us creating our world all the time. And we want to know that the Christ is evolving in us and living within us. That's what's helping create our world. So we're joining in one another, with each of us, with God, with ourselves, to create this world. You have a hand in it by who you're being. How much camaraderie are you creating in this world? I want you to take that today and think about that. So that was the first part. As we take in this information as strongly as is meant to be, we begin to understand that, and therefore everyone goes through the same thing we're going through, whether it may look that way or not, because there is only the one. And as I talked about last Sunday, we've been affected by all these energies that are hitting us, and even stronger now, moving things out with the lunar eclipse, solar eclipse that's coming about. Not just us, but everybody around the whole world. Everybody's been feeling something, because we're human beings. We're one with Source. We're all energy. And to think about that we're not the only one that may have been going through and may still be going through tough times or things happening to us, maybe beginning to feel some changes, to really think about all those people, that homeless guy out on the street, or the people in jail or whatever, are experiencing the same thing. And so that means that others are asking the same question. Why is this stuff coming up? For a reason, beloveds. For our growth. I talk frequently about each person's I am presence, which I've said here, the Christ consciousness, the I am presence that's inside, meaning everyone is connected to Source and God. That's our soul, that's our I am presence, and that's how we're connected to God, through this physical body. We need to be aware of that because we're not this body, we're not the name, we're not our experiences, we are the light. We are love, we are soul, we are I am presence, and that's what we want to help grow within us. And so right now what's been going on is influx of God's light coming to the bottom and pushing the darkness up so that it can be released out in the world through the government problems that we have, or other countries and their governments, through nature, storms, fires, earthquakes, things are going on, through our own relationships. Maybe we're losing things or shifts are happening in our own life, financially, health-wise. It's all coming up to remind us of why we're here on earth at this particular time. It's revealing that what we volunteered to do to assist this planet and all her life in the spiral of evolution to the 5th dimension of the new earth. And again, with it coming up, we can connect to our purpose for being here. Our vision as to why we chose to be here at this particular time. Not just us, but everyone. And when you know that, beloveds, you cannot judge other people for their purpose for being here. You have no idea why they're here, why their souls. Do you have any idea why your soul is here? No. But we know it's here for growth. It's here for love of some respect. That's why we're here to connect. And it may be that somewhere in this world or in our community, in our family, somebody's doing what we would call, negative things. Why would they do that? That's bad. But how do we know what they're expressing or what they're doing is adding to the growth of the light in this world? We don't know that. We just judge it. That's why I said all this stuff in the beginning. We need to stop doing that. Everybody's being led by their soul. Everybody's adding to this energy. And our goal is to be aware of our own thoughts and our own fear-based emotions, which are just part of our human ego. We need to let go of that stuff and really get connected to the truth of who we are. And the greater truth, beloveds, is that you are powerful beyond your own knowing. Your I Am presence is standing in readiness right now to help you out, to help others, and to help this planet out. Your I Am presence inside, the Christ consciousness, is awaiting an opportunity to reveal to you your facet of this divine plan that God has for us. You're part of it. What you have to do is listen, connect to God, to the Christ inside, and know what I think that purpose is, and you'll have it in your own way, is to truly, deeply, unconditionally love yourself and others. That's where it starts from. Your I Am presence, which is your soul, the Christ consciousness, the light, is the only one that can accurately predict to you what your mission is here, what your purpose is, what you all volunteered to say, yes, I'm going to go into physical form at this time to assist this growth that's happening. So center yourself every day and ask your I Am presence to help guide you to fulfill your divine potential with every thought, word, feeling, and action that you express. And pay attention to what's going on when you do that, because there is nothing that happens by accident in this universe. It is all guided by God. It all has a divine purpose, and we are part of that. So pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to how you feel, what thoughts you have, because every single thing that enters your sphere of awareness is part of the divine plan. Think about that. God is everywhere, inside and outside. You, this building, everywhere. So that for everything that happens is a chance for us, as the Course in Miracles says, to give love or to receive love. That's the core of it, to open ourselves up to the truth. So be consciously aware every moment of every day while this energy shift is going on. With every breath you take, you are given the notice, the information, the opportunity to fulfill your purpose, your reason for being on earth, by adding to the light of the world. And the more that we do that, the more we get closer to the 51% of light we need in this planet to transform to the fifth dimension, which is a higher realm of vibration and light. And your I Am presence knows how to do it. That's why it had the sense of being part of your soul, connected to your body, guiding you here and saying, I know where we need to go. And it continually opening up to that. You, in the physical body, need to open up and receive that guidance. That means don't get caught up in all the horrific things that are going on in the world, in our government or other governments. Oh my God, look how bad it is. It's just news. It's just ego stuff. It's not real. What is real is what we're here to learn. What our soul is wanting to learn. What we need to do to know our purpose for being here. So stay focused on the I Am presence. Stay focused on the Christ consciousness, that oneness with God, your self-love. Just think about that, beloved. Self-love, totally, unconditionally, every moment of the day. And by being that and doing that, you can be, as Jesus was quoted in the Bible, to be in this world, but not of it. Not to be caught up in everything that's going on. And then you start to invoke the light of God and say it by words. I invoke it. I am one. I feel it. I am it. That is surrender, trust, and gratitude, which I've talked about. We need to surrender to the truth, to Christ within us. We need to then feel trust that God is guiding us the way we need to be guided, that things will be coming to us. I trust it. I know it. And then I'm in great gratitude for everything that I've received and everything that's coming to me. And I just say, yes, God, here I am. I am open. I receive. So I want you to remember, you're here to create camaraderie in this world. You are here to join in the oneness of everybody in this whole planet. No judgments of anybody. No putting into groups. See the Christ in everybody the best that you can by seeing it in yourself. And then know that the energy that's changing right now is very strong and positive for all of us. There are beautiful and wonderful things coming into our life. Be open to it. Say thank you, God, before it even gets here. And then lastly, all of that starts with your own self-love. That's the important step to take right now. To love yourself unconditionally, truly and totally, just the way God does. Namaste. So is there any comments today? Questions about the talk?